episode of Beyond the Black Rims. I'm Mars Girl.
I'm Josh Knight the First.
And this is Season 6, Episode 21.
Or Episode 139 if you're counting.
Thank you as always to the Patreon contributors over at patreon.com/MarsGirl.
Yes.
You guys make this show and all kinds of other stuff I do possible. So thank you for continuing to be there. Just launched... I guess it was yesterday, publicly.
Yesterday, yeah.
I launched the review of Atelier as suggested by actually our friend Stacy, who's going to be actually playing Destiny with me again tomorrow during my stream. It's typically sometime around noon. It's not really a scheduled stream, I guess some of you guys might have noticed, but it is something we're starting to do a little more regularly. And it just sort of happens somewhere around noon Central Time on Fridays. So that's a thing you can look forward to. Yay.
I'm not usually here for that.
No, you're not. Are you going to be here?
No, I'm going to be at work.
Okay, I'm sorry. Jeez. Sorry I asked. Gosh.
See, that's the thing. You play Destiny during the day, but I've been trying to twist your arm to play some Overwatch. Because
Well-
you're good. Alright? You've actually gotten really good.
Yeah, but only with one character.
Yeah, but still, it's not a character I see a lot of people playing as.
Well, I just like Zarya. I might be playing it sometime in the middle of the night tonight. That's all I can
Well,
say.
that's better than nothing.
Okay.
Alright?
Okay.
You should do that.
Yes. What else is going on, Josh?
Okay, so last week we talked to you guys about how we went to go see Turtles. This week we went to go see Warcraft.
Yeah, that was the thing we did.
It was so-so.
It's a movie.
It's a movie. That's about as much as I could say about it, having really only played maybe 2 hours of gameplay, but you're...
Of World of Warcraft.
Of World of Warcraft, but you're a lot more
really
knowledgeable
not-
than I am.
Well, yeah, because this is not based on World of Warcraft. This is based on Warcraft. Primarily Warcraft 1 through 3, mostly 2. I'm pretty sure the movie ends where Warcraft 2 ends, and... if I may say so, it's actually just about the most accurate video game to film adaptation I have ever seen. I've never seen a more accurate movie. That having been said, it's like what they chose to do was go, hey, we remembered our own video games. Do you remember that we remember our own video games? Here's a location, here's a location, here's a location, here's a name, here's a race, here's a cute monster that a lot of you guys like. And it was just so quickly dropping you through all of these fantasy locations that unless you played Warcraft or World of Warcraft, and you probably were not going to get it, and you were going to get lost or bored or something.
And for me, it was kind of a combination of that, because I will say this much, having never played many of the games at all, like I just said, the orcs had great characterization. They really did. Whereas the humans, like, you remember there was one scene in particular that was so short and so stupidly written. It was something like, well, we need to go defend the kingdom. Yes. We better get started. And then the next scene happened. Like, it was such stilted dialogue out of the humans that I didn't find myself really caring about them very much. I mean, as far as the visuals go, it holds up to just about any other fantasy movie, but I think that's the problem, that if you don't know any better, it just blends in.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So the worst thing you could say about it is that it's mediocre, not that it's incredibly bad and people would rewatch it for that reason, or it's good and you can recommend people go see it for that. It's just kind of there.
Yeah, I agree. I do definitely agree. And it's a shame because I think like I said, it's a very accurate game-to-movie adaptation, the most accurate I've ever seen. But it made all its money back in China, so...
Oh, it killed! Like, that's one of the follow-ups, so I don't want to really get into it.
Okay.
But it absolutely did. Like, don't worry about anybody having seen it.
So maybe the next movie will be alright, but we'll see.
Yeah.
And actually, in relation to the show, I kind of wanted to bring up that there's funky copyright stuff going on with something 4 seasons back.
Oh, you want to talk about that? All
Yeah,
right.
I'll bring that up just because it relates to the show and I don't think it's going to hurt us in any way.
Oh, no.
So, I don't really care. Nobody's probably going back and watching, really listening to the first 2 seasons of our show.
Right.
Because that's what it was for our first 2 seasons, was pretty much audio only, and we have a title card that shows images from the three major sections of news that we talked about, the format really has remained about the same. It's just it was audio only.
Right.
So yesterday, out comes along MGM and whoever else they partner with, starts with an S. I tweeted it earlier. I don't really care. It's MGM though. And they manually, this was deliberate, they manually went to Season 2, Episode 5 specifically and flagged it for copyright and blocked it pretty much worldwide. 75 countries it could not be watched in. And I'm just like, why?
And we look back at it, and to the best of our knowledge, the reason they blocked it is because we talked about RoboCop.
Yeah, it was because of RoboCop. There is a tiny image, like, in the grand scheme of things, it's about, I'm looking at myself here on camera, there is a RoboCop poster in frame that we used for that title card image about this big. And it's a promotional poster that they use around, like, it's intended to be spread for the sake of
marketing.
Of marketing, yeah. And I can only guess that they used that image as an excuse to silence our discussion about RoboCop 2014. And that is flagrant abuse of YouTube's copyright policies. So we're fighting it.
We're fighting it.
And you can still see it live right now, but we're not making any money off of it. Not like we were making any money off of it before, because who the hell's going back and watching?
We kind of expected nobody's going to watch, or like you said, listen to the early seasons before we started showing up on camera.
Mm-hmm.
So, as far as that goes, yeah, we're going to fight it. We are fighting it, but just kind of like, really, man? Really? You're that petty about RoboCop? Just let it go, man.
Seriously,
just let it go. And then the other thing that we had to talk about, we didn't get to talk about it last time because we were busy, but we have at least seen the first 3 episodes of the new Netflix Voltron series.
Man, I really like it.
Yes, I am behind that.
I think it's a very clean and smooth update to what Voltron once was. I think some pieces move a little fast, like in that first episode, which is the not trailer,
the
pilot, which is really more of the pilot. I think it hits getting each of the lions a little too fast.
Well, yeah, because in original Voltron, it took 5 whole episodes for them to get all the lions together to form
each
Voltron.
Episode was a go get a lion episode. Yeah.
But here they managed to try and do it in about an hour, because they really want the audience to see Voltron right out the gate. And, I can only blame them so much for that, but at least the episodes we've seen since then kind of make up for it in terms of pacing. The characterization is just fine. I love the designs. Like, you remember the whole time I'm watching it there, I'm just thinking, this is so fresh.
Yeah.
And I like it. I need it like this. I didn't know I needed it like this until I saw it, but now I need it like this. So yeah, very much looking forward to watching the rest of that.
Definitely, for sure. So, not gonna lie, the majority of this episode that we're doing is pretty much
about
E3.
toasters.
Whatever you want. You always change something on me at the last minute, Josh. This is all your fault.
Alright, we can talk about your video games.
Alright, okay, so the majority of this episode is primarily gonna be E3.
E3.
Difficult for me to tell you guys, we have 3 stories? This is all one big story, really.
Well, technically it's one big story, but we're going to try and take it section at a time of different developers. So we'll start off trying to talk chronologically about whose conference first.
Yeah,
so
they're specifically their conferences, because there were other things out on the floor and stuff,
right.
But this is primarily going to be conference related.
Yeah, so we'll start off talking about, Ubisoft, EA, Bethesda, things like that, and then we'll move past that to Microsoft and all the things they announced, and then move past that to Nintendo and, of course, Sony's major night that they had. Everybody all abuzz over the internet and Twitter talking about that. So we're going to try and hit on as many things as we can. We know we're probably not going to hit everything, so that's why you guys talk to us afterwards for 30 minutes. Anything we missed, just please absolutely hit us up there.
Of course, that's just for you guys who are here live. If you're not here with us live, sorry. You should be here right now.
You should.
Because it would be awesome.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that we do have some follow-ups, yeah?
We do have follow-ups. Okay, so Not quite just. No, I'm just kidding with you.
Thank you.
All right.
Please, boy.
Okay, so first off, we'll start with the DC news. So, director Patty Jenkins for the Wonder Woman movie has gone on record as saying, for those fans who are wondering, are you gonna keep the invisible jet? Are you gonna? No, there's not gonna be an invisible jet in this movie. Don't worry about it. It's not that big a deal. To which I say, yeah, fine. That's not the biggest thing. That's not the biggest care in the world that I
No,
have.
I don't care.
Let's see. Over on the TV portion of things, so major news out of Supergirl. So they have, in fact, found their Superman.
It's gonna be a thing. I'm excited.
Yes. If my computer would load that picture real quick, it's being slow. But we've got major casting out of Supergirl, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow. So we'll start with Supergirl. Supergirl, we've just learned that Tyler... I can never pronounce that name. He's been in other things. He's been in Teen Wolf, Road to Perdition. Tyler Hoechlin? I think I'm saying that right. Hoechlin.
Yes, looks correct. I have
Yes,
no
we'll
idea. I do not know this actor.
I've seen some of that stuff. He'll be showing up in the first 2 episodes of Supergirl, playing the role of Clark Kent / Superman.
Mm-hmm.
So that's over there on Supergirl. Over on Arrow, we've got 2 new characters. We've got actors Rick Gonzalez and Josh Segarra joining up as 2 new characters, Wild Dog and Vigilante. We're supposed to be 2 new hardcore, basically vigilantes that go up against Oliver Queen's Arrow, having difference of opinion on how justice is supposed to be met out in Star City. And over in a little bit of video game stuff, not much, we just want to touch on it for a second. We talked to you guys a little bit about Injustice 2, the sequel that's coming out. Well, of course, from E3 this week, we saw a little look at the supers for some of the new characters like Supergirl, Atrocitus, an update to Batman and Aquaman, things of that nature. I think it's cool with Aquaman, he's tearing you apart with his trident, and then he's got he's just like raw with the shark.
Raw with the shark. Yeah, that was possibly my favorite part of that trailer.
And then just overall, that of all the things Batman would use, he leads off with a weather balloon. I appreciate that. That's thinking outside the box there. Getting you up in the air and then mowing
it's
you
so
down with a bat
extreme,
wing.
but it's still kind of comical. Just like Superman punching Batman through the air and then quickly moving to the other side of Batman just to
punch him in the face.
no,
Or clothesline.
Clothesline's the word I was looking for. Just to clothesline him on the other side of him. So that was like they're so extreme, but it's so funny.
But that's the whole point of that game, as far as the combat is concerned.
Yeah.
And
it is, after all, from the same guys who do Mortal Kombat. So
yeah, from NetherRealm.
Yeah.
And then also from the video game aspect, we have our first look at the Batman Telltale game. Here we have a picture of Batman and Catwoman there. Batman being voiced by Troy Baker, who also voiced for Telltale's The Wolf Among Us last year, and then Laura Bailey also in there as Catwoman. Some people complaining, all right, they were the leads in the last couple of Telltale games. Can we get some new actors in here? Can we kind of change it up a bit? I'm very much looking forward to this game.
Yeah.
Because admittedly, I haven't played Wolf Among Us, but everybody I talk to says, why the hell haven't you?
Yeah,
it's amazing.
I've heard great things about Wolf Among Us.
And then with this, because it's in a medium that I'm more familiar with, comics stuff, I want to see how they do this, because they're very much saying the choices you make as Bruce Wayne affect Batman and vice versa. You've got to play that duality, and I really want to explore that as opposed to just, like kicking ass in Arkham Knight.
Yeah.
I want to get into that, the head of the Batman. So we have that to look forward to. A season pass will be available shortly so that you can have all of the different episodes available to you as they come out.
Still don't know how I feel about those season passes, but alright.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to actually an important follow-up from last week's story. So we talked to you guys about Scott Derrickson, the director of Doctor Strange, saying that he would more than likely have a panel at Comic-Con, and then James Gunn, who's directing the sequel to Guardians of the Galaxy, saying, oh, I don't know, maybe I should show up. Well, he has confirmed as of today, yes, there will be a Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 panel at San Diego Comic-Con.
Well, there you go. So there is, in fact, Marvel presence at Comic-Con.
A very noticeable one. They've got their new test one here, and then they've got their tried and true, well, not really completely tried and true, but their latest golden boy of Guardians of the Galaxy there to show up and like, hey guys, we want to spread the love. I imagine now DC is quaking in their boots because now they see, oh god, they're coming back. They're coming back. Oh god, we thought we had this. They're coming back.
They never had this. Are you kidding me? Never at any moment in
No,
time.
but
did
they're
DC
lying to
have...
they're lying to themselves. Let me go ahead and preface. I should have
understand.
prefaced that by saying they're lying to themselves.
Yes.
Okay, and then over on the Spider-Man Homecoming front, interesting piece of information here. We've got 3 new additions to the cast, all of which don't really have much weight on them. We just know who the actors are. So, actors Martin Starr, who is apparently playing some villain. They won't say who, just a lower tier villain to Michael Keaton's main villain, who they haven't confirmed yet, but we're pretty sure it's Vulture. Actor Logan Marshall Green, and the one that people are most excited for, Donald Glover. Now, for those of you who remember a couple of years back, Donald Glover had his name out there in the running to potentially be considered for the role of Spider-Man, most people assuming that he would be Miles Morales. And since then, he has voiced Miles Morales over on the animated Ultimate Spider-Man series. I highly doubt he's playing Miles Morales. We just got Peter Parker back.
Right.
They're not going to shift it off. Plus, in actual life, he's a little too old to play Miles.
I agree.
It wouldn't make sense to have a Miles that's like 10, 15 years older than Peter is. That just doesn't make sense.
Not unless you're completely and utterly shifting time for the sake of this movie, which I highly doubt they would do.
I mean, they've been playing with some stuff, but I don't think that's going to be the biggest thing to worry about there. But he's in it, and that's great. At least we got Donald Glover in a Spider-Man movie. I think that's the important thing to take away from this.
For sure.
All right, so moving on to some game news over here. So Overwatch, of course, massive numbers there. They've quoted themselves as having 10 million players as of right now. The next patch for the game apparently is going to be nerfing 2 characters that people have been finding they have a hard time dealing with. So specifically, McCree and Widowmaker. Their secondary fire on both of those characters. Widowmaker's scope sight, if you get a body shot, does not take away nearly as much damage as it used to, but they've upped the damage counter on headshots. So they're trying to make people really aim with Widowmaker.
Become more skillful in order to get those kills.
And then with McCree's secondary fire, which is the rapid fire handle smash on his revolver, that has been nerfed down to about 60% of what it was, because they found people weren't getting away from it.
Yeah.
It was just causing too much damage. So hopefully their thought is that this will, like you say, require players to just become more skillful, which is just the nice way of saying, get good.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much that. Okay, so again, talking about Warcraft, massive, massive numbers in China. Like, those
how big are these numbers exactly?
These numbers, like, 156 million, alright? Like, that's only within 5 days over in China. Now, over here...
So easily, I would say that they're going to go ahead with another Warcraft.
More than likely, because it's kind of the same case like it was with Pacific Rim. It only did so well over here, but the overseas numbers really showed up, which is why we're getting that sequel. Over here, it got second place for the weekend with a little over 24 million, which isn't much.
Yeah, and especially for coming out... who was first? It was Turtles again, right?
No, it was The Conjuring.
Oh, it was
The Conjuring 2, specifically.
2.
So, they opened second to a horror movie and a sequel. But here, they totally have their market over there, so yeah, that will probably assure them an opening for a sequel.
Yeah, I would say so. I'm pretty sure they were talking about a trilogy anyway. That, and there's just so much they did not address in this Warcraft film.
I wouldn't know any better.
Tons of just different races within Warcraft that they all live on Azeroth and they never got touched.
Yeah.
So I just foresee them continuing on with it. It made enough money even if it wasn't in the US, and the second movie will make money even if it's not in the US. That's just gonna happen.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so moving on to some Nicktoon news. So we talked to you guys about potential revival of Nicktoons, and of course one of those was the Hey Arnold movie that was announced. We can now confirm that a good chunk of the original cast, remember they were all kids when they did this, are coming back to reprise most of their roles. Like Helga, Phoebe, Grandma, Grandpa, they're all coming back. All the voices you remember as kids. Now, the 2 notable ones, Lane Torren, who voiced Arnold, and Jamil Smith, who is the voice of Gerald, will be returning. However, they will not be voicing Arnold and Gerald respectively, since their voices have changed since then.
Clearly,
but they
yeah.
will have roles in the movie.
That's pretty cool.
So I think that's really nice on Nickelodeon's part to make sure, no, we want everybody to come back as much as possible. People recognize your voices. We know that they love you guys, so we want to make sure they can support you. Come on back.
Yeah.
That makes me feel a lot better about this, really.
Me too.
Okay, so moving on. Of course, not quite related to E3, but out of E3, we got more information on the Assassin's Creed movie. A lot more behind-the-scenes shots of how the effects are looking, how the stunts are being done, trying to hype up this December release for the movie.
Really, to be fair, that falls under the Ubisoft panel, their conference.
Admittedly, yeah, but this is more movie than opposed to the games we'll be talking about. Really, as I'm looking at it, I still have to ask the question, why didn't you guys use any of your other characters? Why didn't you use Altair? Why didn't you use Ezio? Just wondering here.
Maybe there's going to be a spin-off game attached to the movie somewhere, and we've got a brand new assassin, because we've got tons of assassins. Why not add more assassins?
I guess that must be the thought.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so moving on to a little bit of music news. So we have a picture here of Weird Al's all of his works in one thing he calls the squeeze box. Now this is all of his works, all in CD form, in a case that looks like a replica of his accordion.
Mm-hmm.
This will be coming out next year. This, of course, was put out on his Instagram, but he wanted to make sure people knew it was coming. That way they could get ready to purchase it.
Yep.
Personally, I lost a lot of my Weird Al CDs back between moving, like 10 years, no, more than 10 years ago, like 12 years ago. So this would be something I'd want to get, just to get it back. And of course, I love all his music.
Yeah, I think it would be pretty cool. I just don't know that I could afford it. But
Yeah.
I bet if I could afford it, I would get it because I love Weird Al.
Yes. Moving on to some interesting news here out of Dubai. So Dubai is very big on tourism, and they're big on their hotels, and now they're starting to kind of be Vegas-like with their attractions. One of the attractions they're adding is a Final Fantasy VII 3D ride.
So this is when you say 3D, is that closer to 4D? Like seats move and stuff? And
As I understand it, yes. The most that we know is that Square Enix is working on this. It's called Escape from Midgar, so I can only assume it takes place within the first disc.
yeah, maybe it's the motorcycle ride.
That would be nice.
That would admittedly be kind of fun. Kind of. 7 is not my favorite Final Fantasy, but it had good things about it, and that was possibly one of my favorite parts of the game, was escaping out of Shinra headquarters, riding on the highway through Midgar, and then there's a final boss fight, and you get out of the city.
What I'm really hoping for is more of these, because this would be like the second major video game ride that I've heard of since we just had that Mass Effect one open and at California's Great America. Which, of course, there's footage of that now online on YouTube. Go check that out. Not right now, you're watching this, but do check that out. Okay, so moving on to some interesting news with some Tokusatsu news here. So, Kamen Rider Amazons will get a TV run, albeit in an edited form. Now, right now, it's airing on Amazon Prime, unedited, but really, from having watched most of the episodes thus far, like, what really are they going to edit out? It's not that gruesome.
The fake CG blood.
The hella fake CG blood. Like, I don't even... Like, there's not even nudity or anything.
They have a lot of harsh words. I mean, swearing is not hardly the same in Japanese as it is in English. There's just a lot of very obviously angry-sounding words that they don't like being used. So maybe that's part of it.
I guess.
Some language censorship. But that typically doesn't seem to be a problem, even for children's television.
That's what I'm saying.
Censorship.
Like even by modern day standards, it's hokey because of the fact that a lot of the effects are implemented very badly, and I'm not afraid to say that. But it's going to end up on TV, and then of course it'll end up over here in the States when it gets brought over in the fall through Amazon Prime over here. My question is then, if they're going to show it over here, which version are they going to show? The edited version for TV or the unedited version that people are watching right now?
I have to assume that they're going to use the Amazon version, the Amazon Prime version.
I would hope.
That's my guess, because otherwise that doesn't make any sense. I don't know how else to explain it other than that would not make any sense.
Yeah. And then the last thing we want to bring up, of course, the major news out of this week is that Toei went ahead and registered the trademark for the next Kamen Rider that we're going to see after Ghost. So, of course, Ghost was the trademark registered around this time last year. This year, we've got the registered title of, you can see it there in katakana and English there, Kamen Rider X-Aid, and that's pronounced Egseido in Japanese, but they've officially chosen to romanize it as X-Aid. A lot of rumors flying around right now, nothing confirmed as of yet, but a lot of people are assuming that because of the quote-unquote numbering system, and I don't want to get into that right now, but based off that and some other hints, they're assuming that this is a rescue-based or ambulance-based rider who will have kind of an ambulance motif and will be in the medical profession of some kind.
That's really just guesses.
That's really
Wild
just guesses
guessing.
right now. Now, admittedly, if we compare this to last year, around this time, that's when the trademark for Ghost was registered, and then about 10 days later, we got the first confirmable reports of what Ghost's look and powers were. So I imagine around sometime next week, if that trend continues, hopefully we'll have some more news. And of course, since they're filming the summer movie right now, if they're going to have him as a guest, as, you know, kind of the premiere, we get a quick look at him before you watch the series, then we're probably going to have a suit pretty soon if they don't have one already.
I'm sure they must. I'm sure they've already worked on it and they're just not releasing shots of it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But right now, excuse me, anybody's guess is as good as anybody else's, so nobody's word is law right now. We just have a name. That's all we got.
You gave me another picture, you know. You gave me this.
Oh, and yeah, how could I miss this? And then, of course, today, from Gendy Tartakovsky, we have this picture of the upcoming new installment of Samurai Jack, and he looks pissed.
Yeah.
And old. They said that this takes place...
And bloody?
And blood. He takes this place like 50 years later in the story, which could mean anything since there's time travel involved. But like, man, I want a piece of this because I've been waiting for more Samurai Jack.
Yeah, waiting for them to finally finish telling us everything that we deserved to know many, many years ago.
You dang Skippy.
Yeah.
All right, so that's all we've got for the follow-ups. Let's get into this E3 coverage.
Okay, what do we start with? Do we start with EA, maybe? Is that where we're starting, Josh?
I just kind of made notes that we would jump around here.
I mean, yeah, we can start with EA, I guess. Like, somewhere in here I've got a picture of, reminds me of E3.
You really gotta organize these things.
You know what? Why don't you try handling the mouse and the XSplit, and then you can tell me how easy this is, because it's not as easy as you think. Look, here's EA.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, so EA came back with more sports.
Well, okay, so that's not entirely it's pretty
that's not
fair.
false. That's not false.
It's not false. So I was doing a bunch of live tweeting, right? During all of these conferences, and yeah, at first I tweeted football, followed by the other football. So it was, American football followed by lots of soccer. Lots and lots and lots of soccer.
Well,
and
soccer now that has a storyline.
Yeah, there's this, like, I don't know, I'm looking at the storyline like, did they try? What? And they got this guy. I do not know whether or not I'm supposed to know who this guy is. Like,
I have no clue who this guy is.
If he is actually a British sportsman, but he seemed like a really good actor. Like, he learned and memorized this really impressive monologue as he came out on stage, like, you're gonna be me, and you're gonna be playing my story, and then they show this trailer for the upcoming FIFA 17, and it's this guy, this actor that they have rendered into the game, and you're now following his storyline that's like the glory of rising from nothingness to super awesome, I'm a FIFA player guy.
That does nothing for me.
I understand, but at the same time, I'm kind of like, they tried. That
okay,
was the
you
part.
want me? You can give them they tried. I just don't care. That's really the bottom line.
I'm just
there.
saying that was the part that shocked me. So okay, to kind of start from the beginning, they talked a lot about Titanfall 2.
Now, admittedly, Titanfall 2 looks great now that they've added in their single-player campaign. Where now you have to kind of have a bond with your Titan, which looks...
And this Titan looks like it may kind of develop a personality, and I'm just kind of like, oh, story in Titanfall that would have been great the first time around. So now I kind of care.
See, that makes more sense there, because in a soccer game, what do I care about a storyline? With Titanfall, that's the thing everybody was asking about. Like, where's the single-player campaign? Where's the single-player campaign? Well, here you go. The sequel's gonna fix that.
Well, I don't know how many people cared about a single-player campaign.
Everybody I talked to did.
Most people who play first-person shooters just want to get on the internet and shoot their friends, or smack talk people they've never heard of before, and they don't care about.
Well, they announced other games where it's easier for you to do that.
Battlefield 1.
Battlefield 1 got shown, like, what, during 3 conferences?
At least 2 of them.
At least two of them. And of course that's set in, what, World War One?
Yeah.
You have blimps. That's nice.
Zeppelins.
Oh,
Zeppelins.
yeah, I have to use the terminology here.
Very specific. So it looks like a battlefield, and it looks like World War One. So many people, and I'm not much of a first-person shooter type of gamer, alright? But a lot of people were like, rest in peace, Battlefield.
Like this is what's gonna kill it? Really?
I doubt it's gonna die. I am more than positive that people are still going to be playing Battlefield.
Because people need to get their frustration out by yelling at a stranger.
Exactly.
While holding a controller.
Yeah. So, yay! Sorry, guys, I can't talk to you much about Battlefield.
But we can talk to you a little bit more about Mass Effect Andromeda.
Well, only barely, though. Because what they gave us about Mass Effect Andromeda...
They gave us an Asari.
We got to see an Asari, and we got to see a human. And they showed us a lot of behind the scenes. This is how we at BioWare are making Mass Effect Andromeda. This is a group of people you've never seen before, and you're in a faraway place. You are the alien. And this is kind of stuff that I was like, but haven't we heard that before?
We did kind of hear a lot about that over the last year, with little pieces of information they were giving out.
And so they showed some in-game renderings and stuff, but at the same time, like, we saw no gameplay. There still, to this day, is no gameplay.
Well, there was, not gameplay, but just a little bit more
gameplay.
In-game stuff of, like, somebody jumping up and using a biotic, and that's about it. A new ship.
Yay. Oh boy. So
see, like, I want to be happy about it.
I do too.
But, like, give me something to be happy about.
Exactly.
Like, really. Mm-hmm. And then the other thing they talked about, which really I'm a little more mad at, because with Mass Effect, at least it was something new. Star Wars, they didn't give us crap, alright?
Well, but they gave us lots more stuff about add-ons to Battlefront.
Like, okay, they talked about adding the Bespin level. That's fine. But as far as working on any of these new games, there's no titles. Maybe we've got time frames on some of these, but really it was like, we're working on it. See, I'm using a pen to do things. I'm drawing things. I've got an R2-D2 at my desk. That means I'm working on this. Like, that doesn't tell me anything.
There are several new Star Wars games coming, though.
There's like 4 of them they announced.
Yeah. You're right that they didn't hardly show us much of it. It was all like one big compilation. Now, in a different conference, I want to say it was the Sony conference, and
Sony.
And I hate to jump ahead, but we're talking about Star Wars right now. They announced that they're adding through PlayStation VR, you'll be able to do space battles, which I think is awesome.
That's fine, because I imagine you're more happy for that because of the amount of time you spent in the pod game over there.
Oh my god, yeah.
So do you think this will be comparable to that?
Possibly. I still have not played around with any virtual reality, and I really want to. I'm a little nervous about it because some theme park attractions, for example, have gotten me really, really sick with 3D and motion attached to it. But my understanding is that they've gone through a lot of testing with these VR headsets. My only problem is the $400 price tag on PlayStation
That's a bit steep.
VR.
Yeah.
But I really, really want to try it. I really do. I'm very interested in it. So yeah, there was FIFA. There was Madden 17. And then there was this new announcement from EA about a program called EA Originals, where they're trying to make it sound like they're the good guys, right? And trying to partner with all of these different indie video game developers. And they're like, we're not getting any of the profit. All of the profit is going to the indie developers, and we are giving them a platform so that they can be seen. and I'm just like, man, there's got to be some other catch because you are EA, and like the people partnering with you have to realize that they are selling their souls to the devil in order to get their games out to the public. So what is it? And they announced a game called Fee.
That's how I prefer to, like it's just a quick air horn blast.
Which looked very, very pretty. I still don't understand very much about it, but I'm just kind of hoping that studio that produced Fee is not going to be screwed over because they partnered with EA. So, here's hoping, you guys. Keep fighting, Fee.
Right.
Sure.
So let's go ahead and move from them over to Bethesda.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Bethesda was later on Sunday night. We saw that conference. A lot of people were... people that I've talked to at work specifically were happy that Skyrim's getting a remaster, but a lot of people online that I've seen talking about it say, what's the point if you're playing on PC? You can already pull the hell out of the graphics with mods as it is.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the exact same thing. You know what? I need to switch out of the EA picture. I don't need the EA.
Bethesda's the one above it.
Yeah, Bethesda's right there.
There you go.
Yeah, Bethesda.
So, like,
yay.
Really, that because I heard a lot of people and saw a lot of people being like, "Where's Elder Scrolls 6? Are you gonna give us that?"
Yeah,
no?
people were really hoping for another Elder Scrolls game, and that just didn't happen. So instead, they start talking about the remaster of Skyrim that's coming to Xbone and to PlayStation 4, which also includes the ability to download mods that you're already using on your PC, but you can use them now on console, which is cool if you do not have a PC that can do all of that already, but I do, and
Yeah.
I already beat the main story part of Skyrim, and I could go back and do more, but right now I'm just like,
It's like, why?
yeah, I don't need to do it anymore. I did all I needed to do. And then also, as far as Elder Scrolls is concerned, they're like, we promise we're making Elder Scrolls Online even more better. And
Didn't they use that phrasing
no,
exactly?
they didn't use that phrasing. There's something going on with Elder Scrolls Online in which you can be the appropriate level capped. I'm not sure of the phrasing they used. Anywhere you go within this world.
Oh, yes, that's right.
Which is kind of interesting because it makes it a little more accurate to actually playing a mainline Elder Scrolls game where you can just run wherever the hell you want. So I do not understand the logistics of how that is supposed to work in an MMO, but cool, but that it's no new information about any new Elder Scrolls.
Right.
You know.
Now, the thing that got me hyped, because it was what they started off with, was the announcement of Quake Champions.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know about you, and I don't know about any of you guys out in the audience tonight, but I played the hell out of Quake 3 Arena in high school. Like, that was, like, all of us in my high school, we lived for that. Because my school had networked computers, so people in certain classes would try to finish their work as fast as possible to get in and play Quake and beat other people up and smack talk people in other classes.
That was true for me also, yeah.
So the announcement very much hit me right where I lived, and it's great for them, you know, having already brought Doom back from where it was to, of course, being a hit game now. Having announced this, I'm like, I will sign up. Where do I get it?
And
when do
for
I get
a
it?
split second during that Quake trailer, there's some sort of teaser that refers to the new Colossus, which is
related to Wolfenstein.
Related to Wolfenstein. So Wolfenstein might get resurrected. Like, all this first-person shooter stuff.
I wouldn't
from
call
our
it
childhood.
resurrected because it's only been so long since Wolfenstein: The New Order. So I wouldn't call that a resurrection necessarily.
I'm just saying this is all the stuff that we grew up with and we shot each other in the face with back in the day. You know?
Now, admittedly, if there was a problem with Bethesda, it was that they did one thing really well, and that's that they talked about Dishonored 2, which I'm very much looking forward to. The problem was they talked about Dishonored 2 for, like, an exorbitant amount of time to the point where even I was starting to get disinterested. Like, okay, I get it. Emily
There's
Cole,
been
I got
way
it.
too much time.
I
on
get it. New
Dishonored 2.
powers and new levels. I get it.
Which really kind of told me that they are telling themselves, oh crap, we've got nothing. We really have to push the hell out of the thing that is the most complete because we have to fill up at least an hour of conference time. what are we gonna do? And they spent it all on Dishonored 2. Then there was Prey, which I guess there's another Prey out there, and this looks nothing like the other Prey, apparently.
Well, no, because they had announced Prey 2 a while back, and it didn't look anything like this.
Yeah.
And then apparently they've repurposed it and retooled it and completely overhauled it, and now it's this.
Well, my understanding is that this is completely different.
Well, yeah, that's basically what I'm saying.
This is not Prey 2.
This is not recognizable as the Prey 2 that was shown before.
Yeah, that's what I'm hearing. So, and then on top of that, like I said, it really felt like Bethesda didn't have much. They did talk about Doom getting updates to their Snap Map system, where you can build your own maps and stuff. Fallout 4 and Doom are getting VR versions that you can play through headsets. Like,
Fallout 4, it doesn't wow me. Doom, I would definitely try that in VR.
So that's really the majority of what Bethesda had going on, and most of it was Dishonored 2.
At least half.
At least half of it was Dishonored 2. So,
I mean, it looks pretty. I definitely want to play it. Okay, so let's go ahead and move from them over to Microsoft.
Okay, so yeah, Microsoft. I was feeling better
Change
about
the picture.
Microsoft. Okay, hold on. See, I gotta be careful when I refresh these pages because sometimes they've got these things that come up and they want to make noise at me. So I have to make sure. Okay, everything's gonna be fine. So we'll switch from that to. Just start talking about something. There we go.
Okay, so Microsoft had a couple of things to announce. I think, I'll just come out and say the big thing for me that they announced. So they start off announcing the new Xbox One S.
Which I was cool with. I was like, oh, and it's only going to be $300 because it's so much smaller than the current Xbone. It's got internal power, so everybody's always got the joke, huge like Xbox, and they're referring to this friggin' power
unit
brick that always comes with it. I have no idea how many burnouts this is going to cause to these Xbone S's.
I don't know.
But it still kind of fascinated me that I'm not going to need this big old brick power unit, and it goes up to 4K graphics, I want to say?
I believe so, yeah.
And
so they start their announcements with this, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to lie. That's a very tempting price tag. We're both of the same mind. We haven't gotten an Xbone yet. We might go ahead and get this. And then at the end, they announce Project Scorpio, which completely blows that away. And it's like, what's even the point?
Exactly, because I feel like I was really down for Xbone S. And on top of that, because of Xbone S, that has also reduced to the price of the normal-ass Xbone, which is now to only $280, and I'm just like, oh, this is a great time to get an Xbone, and now they're all the way, from the beginning to the end, here's another piece of hardware! Well, I may as well wait! I may as well just freaking wait.
They've already said that Project Scorpio, whatever this next system is going to be, will come out next year, more likely in the winter, or around holiday time. And it's like, but that means
it's got 6 teraflops, guys.
Teraflops. That's what we got to take away from this. And I'm like, okay, I get it. We've had this conversation with some other people. They're really trying to get things together because if things are going in the direction they are with VR being the next peripheral that everybody they assume will want, they need the hardware to be able to handle that. Because of how much it takes to get VR to work at a comfortable level, at a level that people will actually accept and pay $400 for.
Yeah.
So I get it, but the fact that you're announcing it right after you announced, like almost in the same breath, in my opinion, this other system that people might have paid for, kind of it's not good business, I don't think.
I think that was kind of a poor decision.
But they said as much that, hey, we're letting you guys know we're coming out with this now so that developers, you guys can go ahead and start getting on that. Which, that seemed kind of like a cheap move, too. Like, we really need you guys to develop for this because maybe we should let you guys develop for the Xbox One earlier. But, like, get it. Buy it.
You're going to want it, we promise. So, but otherwise, there were some other semi-interested. Gears of War 4. I don't know. I'm not a Gears of War type person.
That didn't do anything for me.
It looked like Shooter 2016 to me because
that looked like Shooter 2016
because I don't Gears of War. So it just I don't know.
Now, in your notes here, two of the other ones that came up that I hadn't seen before but really looked interesting to me. One, Sea of Thieves, which looks like everything that people said they liked about Assassin's Creed Black Flag, specifically being on a boat.
Yeah.
But it's multiplayer co-op, so you're all working together to sink some other ship that some other friends are playing on, and it looks really interesting.
Now, Sea of Thieves 2, and when I say 2, I mean also, because there's not a first Sea of Thieves yet. Sea of Thieves, they showed this gameplay footage that I actually really thought was possibly some of the best gameplay footage out of the whole conference. And when I say that, I mean when they're talking about real gamers who are really playing the game there on stage. About 80% of the time, the people demoing games on stage are not actually demoing games on stage.
Right, they're like actors.
Take, for example, I think it was in this Microsoft conference where
The Division.
Minecraft specifically.
Oh, that too. Well, it was both of them.
Well, I bring up Minecraft specifically because they're like, I'm playing on my iPad, and what's-his-face over here is playing on his Microsoft Surface. And we can all play together even though we're playing on different devices. And the whole thing is scripted, and then you see him put his Surface at his side, and it's not even turned on. And I'm just like, dude, if you're gonna script it, at least try.
Yeah.
But with Sea of Thieves, they've got gameplay footage of people like legitimately having fun playing this game, and they're clearly not scripted. They're going, what am I supposed to do? They're shooting at us! Die! 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 And they're laughing and they're having a good time. And I was like, okay, sell me a game where people are having fun playing your game. So to me, that was a win in this particular conference.
And then the other thing they brought, Scalebound.
I'm interested in Scalebound.
Scalebound looks more like Final Fantasy 15 than Final Fantasy 15 does, alright? Like, this looks like the kind of game that I was expecting that to be, but of course it's got to be some other IP because Square Enix has screwed the pooch on that. But this looked interesting. It was well acted. The combat was very well paced. Like, it was a good strong pace, but I could keep up with everything.
Right, exactly. But to kind of compare it, Final Fantasy 15 did also have some short thing during Microsoft's conference, and it involved a trailer that included music remixed by Afrojack. Because why not, I guess. Like, really, the music wasn't so bad when it was playing the Chocobo theme. I'm like, okay, this remix of the Chocobo theme is pretty alright.
You want some dubstep? Here's some dubstep!
Oh no, I really hope this music is not actually in the game and that they're just using this as... Americans like this music, right? Let's put this in the E3 trailer.
And then the other...
Geez, no, that is not what I want.
And then the other thing I can say that I liked seeing, like, oh, this is nice, Dead Rising 4. You know, Frank is back. That's nice. And he's back...
during Microsoft's conference, you remember that thing they were doing with the cameras? Where they were not showing us the screen.
Yeah, like what was up with, like they were zooming out over the audience.
You couldn't see 75% of that Dead Rising 4 trailer
because they were panned out all the way over the audience, looking at it from the audience's perspective, looking up at the screen. And I'm like, no, just show me. I'm not there in the audience. I'm at home. I have the benefit of sitting down in my boxers in front of a TV screen or a computer screen. Just show me the dang trailer. What the hell? I mean, granted, nowadays that's what YouTube's for, but still, like, if I'm watching it live, I want to watch it live, not the way they're watching it live. Don't make me try to sit in the audience. I know I'm not sitting in the audience. Just show me the dang trailer.
Yeah. Also, there's more Forza, which apparently has world exploration now.
Yeah.
Yay. It's a very gorgeous-looking landscape and environment, and then suddenly cars. Somebody else will like it more than I do.
Yeah.
More Halo Wars 2, The Witcher 3, their in-game card game, Gwent, is getting its own spin-off card game, and now you can join the beta for it. I signed up for the beta. State of Decay 2, Limbo, updates to The Division. Tekken 7 now has Akuma from Street Fighter in it.
And just Akuma.
Just Akuma, although some people are suggesting that that's kind of a test trial to see if there's any possible excitement for a Street Fighter versus Tekken game in the
People
future.
would buy it. I'm
I think
not
they
gonna lie.
would.
But I don't even think they need to test for that. Like, really? Like, you know your industry. You don't need to test for that. Just put it out. People will buy it.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to Ubisoft.
Yeah, Ubisoft, they did like a thing. Actually, I don't have my information up on Ubisoft.
Well, I've got some of it here. So, of course, there's another Just Dance coming out. They announced that.
Oh
That's
my
great.
god! Like, for one thing, Aisha
Tyler, yeah.
I don't think she's funny. I wish they would stop using her, but like, she's probably the least bad thing about that conference. That, and I can't help but feel like every single year, Ubisoft thinks that they're cool and edgy because they swear all the time.
Yeah.
And, like, I get, yes, we're pretty much all adults, but it's not funny anymore. Like, it's just not. I'm sorry.
Let's see, they talked about Watch Dogs 2, which of course we already knew about. They showed some gameplay from that. Looks a little bit better, a little bit more interesting than the first Watch Dogs. Because we were talking about, like, did it do well enough to warrant a sequel?
Well, I guess just barely well enough. It's kind of the same way I feel about The Witcher not being a very good game, and yet it got Witcher 2, which is significantly better, and then Witcher 3, which apparently is even better than that. So these things happen.
Yeah, there was a lot more information about South Park: The Fractured Butthole. Which now, since the last game was fantasy-based, this one is superhero/Civil War-based. So the kids all have their superhero personas, like on the show, like the Coon, Mysterion, Super Craig, and whatnot. And there'll be a lot of in-jokes for the Marvel and DC universe and that. So I very much want to see that when it comes out.
But they were very similar to Bethesda in that they spent so much time on South Park.
They did.
They spent a ton of time. But that Just Dance thing, that opening, man,
that was weird.
with terrifying dancers and people in animal suits, and I'm so sad because they were playing Having a Good Time by Queen, which is one of my favorite songs out of Queen, and I was just so sad.
And then the title I'm looking forward to the most out of them is For Honor, which they announced last E3, and this time we got a kind of a story trailer. Like, you've got these different factions, the Vikings, the Knights, and the Samurai, who've all been forced together. They've been fighting for so long, they don't even know why. But apparently there's this woman, this force behind it all who wants them to fight. So once you're done dealing with each other, you'll have to deal with her.
Yeah.
And really, that's the kind of stuff I've signed up. I haven't gotten into the alpha. I'm hoping. I would like to. Ubisoft, that would be nice.
Ubisoft. Apparently, even from pre-show stuff, the people who work at Ubisoft do not know how to pronounce Ubisoft, so...
Yeah, but very much looking forward to For Honor, just so I can decide whether or not I want to be a knight or a samurai more. Because both look really boss in-game. And then, we don't want to run out of time here, we gotta get to Sony.
Yeah,
so
Sony easily, I think, had...
by most accounts, won E3. If there's a winner... It was Sony.
I easily would say it's Sony because they start with a full orchestra on stage.
Live orchestration,
mostly of God of War. So they do this opening orchestration with God of War, which leads into new PS4 God of War, which has Old Man Dad Kratos.
Yeah.
Which looks very...
Norse Dad Simulator, 2016.
It looks very open world. He's there with his son, trying to teach him how to hunt and stuff, and how to be a fighter, which is really... It looked really cool, actually. It looked like the God of War I am most likely to play, I think. There were teasers for The Last Guardian, which did get a release date. It's coming out later this year, I think in October this year, which is something we've been waiting for years and years and years for The Last Guardian.
More information on Horizon Zero Dawn, which is this high concept one of... It's the super in the future of this girl going through this wasteland like it's prehistoric times, but everything's made out of technology.
Yeah, which we've seen some of it before.
Yeah, we saw some last year.
And now we are seeing more gameplay of it, so it still looks pretty fun. And
still looks interesting.
Interesting. There's more new stuff about Final Fantasy 15, so I already said that they did a trailer during Microsoft. They also had one during Sony, and apparently they're going to utilize the PlayStation VR so that you can play as Prompto, who is not the main character of the game, but one of your
His
other
friends.
4 party member friends, which you can only do through VR apparently. Detroit Become Human looks interesting. So
Yeah, from the same people who made Heavy Rain.
I don't know that it's
Right?
from the same people, but it's of that same vein. You are right. It's of that same vein where it's very choose your own adventure kind of. Any decision you make is going to trigger a wildly different outcome, and to me, so far, only so much gameplay is shown of it, but it looks like there's a possibility of better execution than Heavy Rain and, what was it, Beyond Two Souls?
Yeah.
Definitely better execution than Beyond Two Souls, so I'm interested in it.
They announced that new Spider-Man game. Nobody was expecting that.
Yeah, it looks like it might be a decent Spider-Man game.
Yeah, for the first time in years, because this new suit, which I've already seen on Instagram, it didn't take more than 24 hours for people to already start figuring out how that thing looks and start printing it out for screen printing for suits. Like those Spider-Man cosplayers, man, they're just on it.
Mm-hmm.
But it looks like it's a different blend of all these different Spider-Man suits we've seen in different media. No gameplay there, just a trailer, but it looks very interesting. They announced that Batman Arkham VR new thing with new narration from Mark Hamill as the Joker.
Resident Evil 7 is gonna be a thing.
Okay,
And that
I didn't know that was Resident Evil until the very friggin' end.
Well, yeah, because they show this trailer, right, and it looks a whole hell of a lot like PT,
Right.
and we're like, what is this? It looks almost exactly like PT, and I'm pretty positive that Capcom must have been like, oh, if Konami's not going to do something with what this looks like, we may as well do it, and then it turns out it's Resident Evil 7, and it's like, holy crap, this is like actual thriller, horror, scary kind of Resident Evil the way it was always meant to be, and apparently you can play this demo now. We have not yet played the demo, but we talked to friends just last night who had played the demo, and they thought it was super scary good.
Yeah.
Very, very good.
They had Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. Now, I didn't realize it was a Call of Duty game until they got to the end, because this actually looked like some... To me, I thought it was some new IP of space battle and whatnot that was very realistic, and then I find out it's Call of Duty. Like, you might actually get me to play Call of Duty.
Well, you want a new IP, there's Days Gone, another zombie game. This one seems very overwhelmingly full of zombies. Like, this guy is being flooded by zombies, and I'm like, why are you even shooting? You clearly don't have enough bullets. Just
There's no way you have enough bullets. Crash Bandicoot's coming back.
Kind of. Everyone wanted a
Kind
new
of.
Crash Bandicoot, but instead it's a remaster of the first 3 games, so, oh boy. And Skylanders, yay, is a thing. And Lego Final Fantasy VII, those are things.
But the
Lego,
biggest...
Lego Final Fantasy VII.
Lego
Star Wars 7.
Episode 7, The
Episode
Force
7.
Awakens. Okay.
But what everybody wants to talk about, really, is Hideo Kojima coming out
Like
on
a
stage,
boss,
and
alright?
And he even says, "Hello, everyone, I'm back," and that's all we needed to hear. Right?
Kojima-san! And he comes back, and he's back with a vengeance. Because, like, everybody's like, Sony, you did good.
Yeah.
You did right by him. They basically, like, my favorite response to what they put out is there on Tumblr. Kojima calls up Norman Reedus, like, Norman, I need you. Dude, I'm naked. Come, take me. No, I need you for a new game. Oh, yeah, sure, I'll totally do that. Oh, by the way, you don't have to get dressed or anything. Since you're already naked, and then we get this trailer for Death Stranding, which most people were freaked the hell out by, because there's these weird visuals going on there. You know, you got a naked Norman Reedus on the beach with these weird keys around his neck, which some of them have equations having to do with black holes. Like, people zoomed in on to be like, whoa, this is like some really out there next level stuff. And he's got like a baby there.
And then the baby disappears, and he walks away.
And he's got this like cross scar and no belly button. And then he looks up in the sky and there's just 5 floating humanoid figures, and there's all this dead marine life washed up on a beach, and we don't know what the hell's going on, but everybody's like, just give it to me. I don't even care. Kojima, you make whatever you want.
So
just
the
give
only
it to
thing
me.
missing from all of this is
Guillermo del
Guillermo
Toro.
But man, this is everybody's hype. Everybody's so hyped.
Everybody's so hyped. I like the alternate title that the internet came up with, Norman Reedus and the Freaky Fetus. Which, yeah, if you're watching the trailer, how else are you going to accurately describe what you just saw?
Yeah.
And We have to stop. That's the problem. There was still Nintendo's conference, and we'll talk about it for a second.
Nintendo didn't have a conference. That's
Well,
the
I mean, not
problem.
conference. They had the Treehouse. But the biggest thing, of course, coming out of it was the new Zelda, Breath of the Wild, which looks beautiful. So beautiful. They got the amiibo coming out for it.
And then they have a whole bunch of DS games.
And they have a whole bunch of DS games. But, yeah, we only go for an hour. We're at that hour. There was so much other stuff. We only glanced over everything. That's why we want you guys to stick around for another 30 minutes. We're going to talk here in the chat. Please stay.
Yeah.
We got a lot here.
But if you're not here with us live, I wish you would be here with us live, because you could be talking to us about the rest of, like, we're going to probably talk about Nintendo for part of the next
More than
30
likely,
minutes.
yeah.
And you could be here with us if only you were here on Thursday evenings at 9 p.m. Central, and then you could hang out in the chat with everybody else here, and then direct your questions directly at us, and we will answer them, and it's fun and it's awesome.
Yes. But of course, during the week, you can always hit us up over on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Josh Knight First.
I'm at Mars Girl.
And that having been said, that's been tonight's episode of Beyond the Black Rims. We'll see you guys again next week.
Good night.